Hello, welcome back to Auto Pop Culture. Today we're going over Taylor Swift's ninth album called Evermore. So, I did a review on her last album, Folklore, which just came out earlier this year in July. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I felt like that was much more like of her element. I felt like it was a different element that she hasn't gone to, but really felt nice. And so I was very excited to hear that she was coming out with a extended another album of these type of like songs from Folklore. So, and I have to say, I was very kind of skeptical because usually when it comes to having an album coming after another album, it feels like either the second one that comes out drowns out the other one, or it is a complete failure after the first one. So, and in this case, it definitely isn't that. It's definitely a complete, full-on great album with this direction, and I'm very surprised that it has stayed pretty consistent. Due to the fact that I know other artists that have gone the other way, where it's just like, oh, this one drowned out the other album, or this one's not as good as the first one. So I'm going to go over some of the songs I really like, which is majority of them. So I'll try to kind of and break down some of the stuff that I know from looking up stuff. I didn't go hardcore like Swiftie looking up underground stuff, so I'm not going to associate Folklore with this one and all these other songs that go with each other. It's a little too much for me, but I'm gonna give you a fan of her, not like intense Swiftie stan, because I don't even know half the undertone stuff. So, but if you do, leave a comment below with your little like stuff that you researched in and everything. So first off, Willow was the first single to this album, and I really like it. It felt very Cardigan, and I love the music video. I love that she kind of leaned into that kind of like witchy feel too, and I feel like it's exactly what this story. I feel like this album is less folk, or at least folk with a hint, with some country twist to it, where the other one was folk with a bit of pop twist to it. Or indie twist, and this is more like indie country or folk country, and I love that. And I think that she always does best in country. That's her signature beginning. So it's going to be very easy for her. So let's get into some songs. So once again, these songs aren't based off of her. I think there's only 2 songs that are based off of her. The rest songs are just completely just stories. So we have Willow, which is really beautiful. It's pretty much a love kind of, I found you, I'm glad we found each other kind of thing. What she says is every bait switch was a work of art. Pretty much saying everything that made us get to this point was worth it, no matter good or bad, you know. Champagne Proms is another one I really like. I think it's very intense, not intense, it's very interesting. It talks about a woman who pretty much turns down a marriage proposal right before Christmas. And it's a whole like mess of drama too, because it's just like the going to be fiance, I guess boyfriend, was really betting on this happening, and like, or really hoping that she would be cool with the proposal and everything. So she was really ready for this, and it's like, oh, right before Christmas, it's gonna be so romantic, and she actually turned it down, but not because she didn't. I think the idea is that Taylor writes down that she didn't have a reason, but I think she also points out later on is sometimes you don't know the answer until somebody is on their knees and asking you. I think that's very kind of point blank. She's like, she didn't really know that she did not want to marry him or spend forever with him until the question of spending forever with him was being up front, you know. And I think that she realizes, like, nope, that's not it. But at the same time, at the end of this story, or this song, you start seeing that he does eventually find another person who does want what he wants. And she says, she's like, she'll patch up your tapestry that I shredded. Going into the next song, which is Gold Rush, I really like Gold Rush. I love the sound, I love the whole idea of it. The verses are so nice, and I love it starts off very kind of minimal, and it gives you everything, but then it goes into the verses, and it has this weird, like, soaring feel that kind of like da 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 da. Like I don't know, it just completely took me to a different world, and I really loved it. This song is pretty much talking about how this woman's a little jealous because this guy that she wants to pursue is very well liked. Like everybody wants him. Like she's in a line pretty much. Like yeah, everybody wants him. She wants him more. She wants him, but she knows that like the competition's heavy. And so she kind of just fantasizes being with them, and gets questions like, "What must it be like to to grow up that gorgeous or that beautiful?" You know, and pretty much saying everybody wants you, but I don't want to gold rush. I don't want to rush. I don't want to pretty much gold rush. Everybody's rushing to get the gold and rushing to California and stuff like that. It's the same thing. Everybody's rushing to be with this guy, and she's not into that competition. "'Tis the Damn Season" is the next song, which I really, really love. It's pretty much talking about a fictional person. Was it fiction? Yeah, fictional character named Dorothea who was in LA. She starts to she's in LA to make it big, but she goes back to her hometown and she rediscovers her old flame, and so in that stance, they decide to kind of relive some of their like things they used to do together before she goes back to LA after the holiday ends. And pretty much it's just like she's kind of balancing that direction where she's like, she knows that this is temporary and that both of them shouldn't technically do this, but it's the feel of everything going around them that makes them kind of want to like entertain it, I guess. Definitely when she says the holidays linger like bad perfume. You can run, but only so far. I really, really love that quote too. And then she goes back to LA afterwards. Tolerate It is a really, really interesting song. It's one of those ones where I feel like in every Taylor Swift album that I have listened to, there has been one song that really hits you hard in the core, and it's just like, wow, like who hurt you, you know? And I think that it's just like, before we used to know, but now we don't know, or now it's complete just story, so it's just it's just insane. So this one is going on that direction of kind of like turbulence inside the relationship. And this one, she pretty much says like the continuation of wanting love from somebody who doesn't pay attention to anything you do for them. And it's pretty much very interesting. One of the things that she says is, she says a couple things. It seems to be a mixture between she feels like he's not paying attention, but at the same time, she is not sure if in that feeling either. And there's a lot of contrast she'll put on herself. Like, for example, she's like, I know my love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it. And then the other piece is that she says, you're so much older and wiser. And I think that whole thing is that in this idea that she's in this space where she feels this way, but she also doesn't want to, she also thinks that it might just be in her head due to the fact that he has grown throughout the relationship, gone older, and have wiser decisions and stuff like that. So she thinks like, oh, maybe this is all in my head because there's other things that you do that are much more wiser and that you do than not this. And then at the end of it, she notices that maybe she is right in how she's feeling, and so she talks about how she's like, what would you do if I break free and leave us in ruins? Pretty much saying like, what if I just leave? And she says this like, and you know I can do it kind of thing, but it sounds a little bit not desperate, but it sounds like longing for you to have a reaction to it, because it's just like, it has a weird feeling that she wants to keep going, but at the same time she also is threatening to leave in the same time, and it's kind of a weird, kind of desperate, like, please take that threat as something to fix, get your shit together kind of thing. And then it goes into my very, very favorite songs as No Body, No Crime featuring Haim. And oh my god, it's so creepy and it's so interesting, and this is the touch on more for like country piece where you just like the story, there's a country songs, a lot of country songs have a lot of storyline in their songs, and this one definitely has that, and I love it. This one's pretty much talking about a missing person case that happens after this wife has been cheated on by her husband. So it opens up, and being Este Haim is basically taking the role of a wife, and she's pretty much saying, she's like, I think he did it. And it goes on to where she's talking to Taylor, and she's like, I think this guy is, I think that my husband's cheating on me. I'm going to call him out on it. And so she does, and apparently next thing you know, Wednesday happens, and she's nowhere to be found. And so Taylor takes it upon herself to start looking up stuff and finding out things. But at the same time, we come to conclude that yes, he did cheat, and on top of that, the mistress has moved in literally not too long after her disappearance, after the wife's disappearance, and it's like, what? But then it turns into it goes in further where Taylor Swift like digs, finds out all this stuff, and ends up just pretty much killing him himself, and framing the mistress for it, due to the fact that the mistress decided to, after the husband was pronounced dead or missing, she took out a life insurance on him, and Taylor's was like, yep, well, there goes the good thing that she did that, and good thing I have a boat and stuff like that. So it's just like, pretty much she framed her in the end, and it's just a whole cycle of karma. It's insane. And it's so creepy. I love the sound of it, the dark, kind of creepy, like, true crime creepiness. Happiness is another one I really like. It's pretty much talking about moving on from a decaying relationship, but looking back at all the joyous bits of it. And so, in one of the pieces that she says, she's like, there will be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you. So I love the idea that she doesn't fault him. She doesn't take away the fact of their relationship, of how all the good stuff that happens. She applies that and thinks about it, but she also accepts not as much as she accepts that, she accepts that she is moving, the moving on part of it. There's no regrets in any pieces. It's all about, I'm very happy about all the happiness that you applied, and I'm very happy about all the happiness that's applying to me afterwards as well. And she also applies it to him. She's like, there will be happiness after me, but there was happiness because of me as well. So kind of things, just like, either way, your happiness will come no matter what, and you can still look back at a good relationship, whether it was bad or whether it was toxic, and still look at the pieces that you really adored about it. Dorothea is another song that I really like. It's kind of continuing the 'Tis the Damn Season, and pretty much saying that it's not her saying, it's not a lover. The old flame is talking to her, saying that pretty much like, I know that you're out there in LA, but do you think about me sometimes? And do I ever cross your mind? And just know that if you ever get tired, as she says, if you're ever tired of being known for who you know you'll always know blah blah. You'll always know me. And I think that's what he's saying, is like, there's always a place for her inside that hometown where they are. And apparently they're in Mississippi, some town in Mississippi, and in my head I was like, I'm sorry, but no one's gonna move back to Mississippi. Maybe they can move somewhere else together, but no one's moving back to Mississippi. Anyway, so going into Coney Island, which is a really fun one, featuring the Nationals. This one is talking about how she regrets hurting her partner and her ex, and now she misses him, and pretty much she's saying, like, sorry for not making you my centerfold. Sorry, and it seems to me like, sorry for not making you my center person, like, not putting you first over other things that have been going on. And she's like, what? And another one that's interesting, because the Nationals come in, and they have their own little piece to it. It's so deep. So one part, it says, what's a lifetime of achievement if I push you to the edge, but you're too polite to leave? And it says, will you forgive me will you forgive my soul when you are too wise to trust me and too old to care? And I think it's that kind of thing. It's just like, I think it's interesting that she talks about a lot of long-term relationship kind of direction, it seems like. Because before in folklore, there's a very short-term relationship that were going on. And this one seems to change it up to go more long-term issues. And I think that's where it falls into this. And then a couple other songs I really like. So I didn't really care for Ivy, and definitely did not care for Cowboy Like Me. I just didn't really feel like it really spoke to me too much. I didn't really have anything that really pulled me in. But the rest of the last four definitely do. So we go into long story short, which is actually a personal song with Taylor Swift. It's pretty much talking about how she finally had found peace and resolution after all the shit that she's been through in her career. And so she does take some blame, or take some faults and some pieces that I didn't really know. But she says, pushed to the precipice, clung to the nearest lips. Long story short, it was the wrong guy. I think she's talking about Calvin Harris or Tom Hiddleston in that kind of direction, where those two were very, very temporary until she met Joe. So yeah, but in the end of it, she's like, no more keeping score, now I just keep you warm. I'm all about you. Pretty much saying like, I'm focused, I'm honed in on you. Now everything's okay. I found peace and everything, and now I can focus on the love that I'm being part of. Hopefully I pronounced this right. She literally said this, and I see this word and I get like what how do I pronounce this? Because I think of different words. Marjorie swings. There's a swing to it. So this one's is a tribute to her late grandmother, and it hits you in the heart. It's just like hits you hard. And so pretty much this one talks about how she's pretty much says, she's like, I don't think you're not. I understand that you are past, but you're not gone. I feel like you're around. She says, what's dead didn't stay dead. You're alive in my head. And if I didn't know better, I think you were still around. And one thing that she does say in pieces of it is that she also took some lessons from her grandma. One being, never be so kind, you forget to be clever, but never be so clever, you forget to be kind. And pretty much in that direction, it's just like, don't ever think that kindness is how you're supposed to approach everything at all times, but also remember it as well, when it can be applied to. And the one quote that I saw under the little subscription of me looking at stuff is that she pointed out, she's like, be a snake, but only strike when you've been stepped on, kind of thing. And I think that's kind of thing, like, you never jump to conclusions, like, see what's going on before you react, kind of thing. Going to the next one, last two, which is Closure and Evermore featuring Bon Iver. The Closure is very, very interesting. It's pretty much talking about the narrative, the narrators going in on their ex, pretty much saying just like, because the ex can't seem to stand the idea that she's still mad at him after everything that happened. And so he sends her a letter, and she's like, yes, I got your letter. Yes, I'm doing better. I know that it's over, so I don't really need your closure. And pretty much saying, she's like, she doesn't want to really hear much about him anymore. Doesn't really care of reconnecting either. And due to the fact that she also calls it out saying like, it's so easy for you to do this due to the fact that you moved overseas, you're nowhere near me. And so you feel this weird like guilt that you need to get closure, and so we can be okay again, kind of thing. And she says staying friends would iron it out so nicely, but it's fake and it's so unnecessary. Pretty much saying this whole action is completely unnecessary, because I also know it's pretty much fake. You're just covering your bases more than you are actually sorry and want to make actual closure, you know. And finally going to the last song, Evermore, with Bon Iver. I can't get myself into Bon Iver. I try to so bad, but like I definitely love him when he comes to do stuff with Taylor Swift. It really sounds nicely. It sounds so nice. This one talks about the mental health, and it talks about how it's just the story starts off with her talking about how she feels like she's in this like never unending period of depression and hurt, and she just feels like she'll never get out of it. But at the end of the song, she does say like, I do feel like it won't last. But first she says, I have a feeling too so peculiar that that this pain will be forevermore. And to the point where Bond comes in and he's like, can we just get a pause to be certain that we'll be tall again? Pretty much saying like, can life stop for a minute, or just give us a future seeing to see if there's going to be something that we're going to get past this. And then it climbs that point, and then finally she says at the final end, she's like, this pain, I have a feeling so particular about this, that this pain won't be for evermore. And I feel like that's really, really nice. It gives you a nice little ending. It's just like, sure, you're going through it, but there is a hope that you will not, it is temporary, you know? That's pretty much it. I really, 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 really love this album. I think that it's very rare that I come across a person that can do back-to-back albums that are just as good with each other. Like, I do like Ariana Grande's Sweetener to her, Thank You Next, but I also think that Thank You Next drowned out Sweetener's space as well. But I do like them both. But this one right here is just like equally good. I can't say that I like one over the other, honestly. I think I kind of like them both. I feel like they are kind of a continuation of each other. I give this a 10 out of 10. I'm very happy with this. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. Also, Swifties, if you do have an undertone stuff that I missed talking about, please point that out. I would love to learn more about it. And leave a comment below, of course. But don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get more of my videos. And if you, thank you for watching, first off, and I'll see you all in the next video.